Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Global Application and Finance Dynamics Business Central webinar. We will now begin the presentation as I see that it looks like all attendees have trickled in. People might join us along the way. My name is Marie Soleil. Some of you might have met me before. I have a functional and technical background. I've been implementing Business Central for over 20 years now. I'm also fluent in CRM reporting and partner solutions for Microsoft Dynamics. So in addition to managing projects, providing advice and direction, I also provide solution insights and assist the open door analyst, developers, and implementers throughout projects and with support requests. This webinar is the first of our three-part spring series. There will be we'll be sharing key recent and planned Business Central application features. In today's session, we'll look at Business Central General and Finance features. These new features are already available in your Business Central environment or will be soon as updates are rolled out. Some of them are not released yet, but are available in preview mode. You can activate them through feature management in your Business Central environment. With their latest releases, Microsoft is delivering functionality that has been suggested through Microsoft Dynamics 365 Ideas. The Ideas portal can be used to submit suggestions for new features directly to Microsoft. To this date, hundreds of ideas have been deployed. So submitted ideas are reviewed by the Microsoft product dev team, and the most relevant or most requested ones are added to the solutions roadmap. If you submit an idea, you can let us know, so your open door team, so we can share it and upvote it. Before you submit an idea, make sure to avoid duplicates, obviously, and check if the feature already exists or if it's planned for release, or if the idea has already been submitted. In that case, you can upvote it. You connect to the portal using your Office 365 credentials to sign in. So it is your email address and your usual email password that you would be using to connect to the portal. I will switch to Business Central for a live presentation so we can walk through features and functions. Some of the features are available now, as I said, either in preview or they were released in a recent update. The features available in preview must be turned on or activated by an authorized user from the feature management page in the environment. If you are a seasoned Business Central user, you might notice that some features I will be showing are not brand new, and you'll be correct. Features that were already in Business Central were recently improved to provide additional functionality. So that's why some are included in this presentation. So I've just switched to Business Central. You'll notice that I'm in my browser. I am now using Edge. You could also use Chrome. It works well. And you'll notice that there's a little mini icon there that looks like building blocks with a plus sign, and it says Install Business Central. So in addition to connecting through your web browser, as you currently do, you can now install and use the Progressive Web App for Business Central. A Progressive Web App, or PWA, is a website that can be installed as an app. So this means that you can install the Business Central web client on your workstation. You'll most likely have less accounts to choose from when you do so. And it will install this web client on your workstation and let you access it without having to open your browser. So you'll see what the screen looks like here. And you'll notice that I now have a Business Central icon that I can pin to my taskbar, and that is also accessible directly from my Start menu. I can also pin it to my Start menu here to have the icon. So instead of getting in the morning and opening your web browser and navigate through your favorites or a shortcut, you can use the app here and get the exact same Business Central without the clutter of the web browser in a single window. The Getting Started features have been improved to include checklists and tasks to guide you through configurations. So if I go here to a new company that I created especially for the occasion, and you open it, you will see that Business Central will guide me through the Get Started menu. If I click on Get Started, I get a checklist of tasks that help me through the configuration. So I can, for example, start the checklist step to update my company setup and my company details. I can walk through, I will exit the guide. I can walk through different tasks like these and customize checklists to add additional tasks that I can also mark as completed or assign to users. I will now switch back to my presentation company so that we have data inside our environment when we review it. You will see that in this menu, you have a new item, and this might have popped up in your environment if it has been updated already, that teaching tips. So there are tips that are displayed in your environment and that are very useful to newer Business Central users or even to seasoned users who want to learn new things or learn more about Business Central. We'll see an example by looking at a sales invoice. So when I go to create a sales invoice, you'll see that I have a pop-up at the bottom, minus Clippy, but very similar to it for those who remember him. So it gives me information about the sales invoice details, and I can take a tour. So it guides me through relevant or important mandatory fields or steps in a process. I can retake the tour by clicking on the menu item if I want to. So if you've done it once and you want to display it again, or if you want to see if there's a tour or tips available from a page, you can click on its title to see the details here. Again, this is very useful to new users. It can get a bit intense for seasoned users, so I'll turn it off for our benefit now so that I don't have pop-ups in our next steps. You'll notice continuous small improvements, but very welcome improvements to menus. I'll go to my vendor list here to see example. The report button has been renamed more aptly to reports and includes additional options. This is true from the vendors list, but also from other pages who have that options. The navigate button that was a remnant of older functions in the Navision solution and then Nav solution has been renamed to find entries. So there are several changes like these. You have another one when you look at your settings here and switch company, you can see that you have a list of the companies you're allowed to access and not an exhaustive list of companies. So some things throughout the application have been renamed to be more consistent and also be more precise in some cases. Saved views and filters were also improved to more clearly indicate the fields that are available. So the different filters that are available are for visible fields on the page. I can still personalize that page to add additional fields if I want to. And I can still save my views to toggle between them. So this one is all open entries for Fabricam. Saved views are not new. However, the toggle field here is less known, so I can switch between views. So see all vendor ledger entries or see my different saved views inside the same window. They remain available if I close the filter pane. We have new features available on sales orders and purchase orders, and those come from ideas that were submitted by users. We will go and take a look. We'll create a new purchase order, actually. So I am creating a new purchase order for Fabricam. The first thing you might have noticed is that resources are now available to purchase. They were not in the past. You had to use a GL account or create an item of type service to handle resources. You can now insert them on a purchase order without necessarily tying the purchase order to a job. So this is useful if you use outside consultants, for example, and you want to track the specific resources, or if you work with subcontractors outside of a manufacturing or jobs environment and you just want to track them on a purchase order, you're now able to do so directly from your PO line. You can also create recurring purchases. So the recurring line features is available on the purchases, but also on sales. So you can easily insert lines on quotes, orders, or invoices. So I will go and show it to you on a purchase order here. So under my actions, my functions, I get recurring purchase lines. So these can be configured in advance, or I could configure new ones on the fly. I will select these ones. And you'll see that I have items, resources, charges, GL accounts that were added with quantities and with their respective prices. This is very useful when you want to create recurring invoices without having to retype the lines or use the copy document function. You can just create a template of lines and then associate it with a vendor to insert it like such onto a purchase order. The same can be done for a customer. And if you assign the lines to a customer, you can run a routine to create the sales invoices. So you have recurring sales lines, but you can also create recurring sales invoices on a regular basis. For example, if you are billing some customers for subscription fees or recurring monthly fees, you could create recurring sales lines for them, similar to what I have on my purchase order now. But for your invoicing, and then once a month, you would go in and create recurring sales invoices for the customers, so that you can just process them. Other new interesting feature that was requested a lot by customers. From the general journal, you can now check directly if there is an error on your line without having to go and preview the posting. For example, If I enter this line, you'll see that I have the journal check on my batch. So this is a setup on the journal batch. And you see that now my amount is empty. So any error will be highlighted as I go. And when I get to the end of my entry, before I post, I can verify the different lines and then fix them. It will show me all the issues, dimensions included before I try to process the post. I'll now switch back to slides, as some improvements are a little difficult to show live, but this is the best one. We've been waiting for it for a long, long time, as long as I can remember, and I started working on that with version 2. There is now an undo action on the bank reconciliation. You can undo a posted bank reconciliation. It will create a new bank reconciliation that you can edit and then correct and post to replace the one that you canceled. So this is a new improvement that has been released for bank reconciliations done by Automatch. And there is also a new report for those reconciliations, so a posted statement that is available to print out. Dimensions have been improved. You can correct dimensions on posted GL entries. There is a correct dimension functions that is available that will let you make changes, remove, add, modify. Here we see that I'm changing the area from 70 to 30 on my entry. You can have a reason for that change that you enter, and it will track who made the change, when it was done to, and keep a record. So there is no need now to credit and reinvoice, for example, if you want to update dimensions on GL entries. Also, when a dimension is mandatory on an account, you can specify allowed dimension codes. For example, for a specified GL account, maybe I only want specific departments and not all departments to be available for selection. You can now set that with the allowed dimensions function. Finally, the shortcut dimension column. So all your dimensions that are set as shortcut dimension in your general ledger setup have been added to the ledger entry table. So it's about 20 tables they've been added to. So it makes exporting to Excel reporting, filtering much easier as the information is accessible directly on the page. Keyboard shortcuts are back. So some were already there, they were improved. So some of the old nav shortcuts remain the same, such as the F8 to copy the cell from above. And you have new variations for posting documents, previewing statistics, and other actions. There is a full list available with a keyboard view too. There are other new features such as locating balances by dimension value in the recurring journals. Track package, that function has been added to several more documents. It's now available from the posted sales invoice, sales credit memo, posted return receipts when it was only available on the shipments before. There are new document layouts available for sales shipments and sales return orders, so you don't need a developer now to create a new report. If you want to modify those, you can use custom layout. Item reference has been extended. You now have 50 characters instead of 20. And you can automate the posting of approved transactions with workflows. So you can add a workflow step that will post a transaction as soon as it is approved, so you don't have to go back to it and process a posting. And then finally, and this one could be its own webinar, so I kept it for the end, there are several improvements and changes to the email processing. So instead of the flat SMTP setup that was using only one email address, You now have attachment management features. You can send emails from several accounts based on what the emails are or the sources. You can better track the sent emails, see them, and see their source documents. You can have multiple recipients on an email that can be preset. So specifically on a customer, for example, you can say that the recipients for the customer statement are these 3 people instead of having only one contact address for all the documents that you are sending from your from Business Central to your customer. You can have account-specific document layouts. So many changes and improvements in that area, and I know others are coming up too. You might want to take a look at the documentation and future release notes because there are very interesting features here. That was a lot to take in a short amount of time. I will take a peek at the questions and the chat. Will there be a replay? Yes, because that went fast in a short amount of time. There will be a recording made available. You can also contact us if you want more information on a specific area. But yes, we'll make the video available to you. Our next webinar will be on June 16, and it will focus on new functions and features for operations. So think planning, inventory management, items. So more on the operational side of things, jobs too. There were improvements there. And if you are interested in one of these areas or any new feature you might see come around, you can contact us at hi@opendoorerp.com to book a session with one of our Business Central experts. Thank you.